Hey everyone, Ken here with Ken's Creations, and welcome to Ken's Creations Roadmap to Cricut Design Space. In this series of videos, we're going to take a personal look at Cricut Design Space and all the different pieces that go into it that you can use to make the perfect project. So let's take a look at what today's installment is all about. In today's installment, we're going to be talking about everything to do with text, and there is a lot to cover. Not only are we going to show you how to add text, but we're also going to show you how to add multiple text boxes. We're going to show you how to download your own text from a third-party site. And then once we have our text in session, we're going to take a look at all of the options in the Layers tab, the Edit tab, and then also I'm going to show you a trick on how to curve your text. So let's go ahead and get started by adding a text box. So now to add text to any project, all you need to do is on the left-hand side, hit the Add Text option. This will bring up your text box where you can go ahead and type your sentiment. Your sentiment will give you a preview below that box, and then you can take a look if you want to make any changes. Now as you can see, it is one line. So if I wanted to have multiple lines in my text box, I just need to go ahead and simply hit the return key, and it will give me a second line. When doing this, keep in mind that anything in that text box will be the same font. If I would like to have another font in my project, I will simply add another text box and type that sentiment. Now that we have our text added to our project, let's go ahead and take a look at the Layers tab so I can show you some more options there. So let's go and take a look at the Layers tab and all the cool things you can do within text. So as you can see, both of the Layers tab, we have both fonts here. You can tell which font it is represented by the first letter of the sentiment. Let's go ahead and bring the Loves You into session, which is automatically going to put a box around the Loves You. This is going to let you know you are working with that text box and that sentiment. The first thing you're going to notice is there is a layer that is hidden here, and this is the shadow layer. All Cricut fonts usually have a shadow layer to them. Third-party fonts that you bring into Design Space do not have the shadow feature, and unfortunately at this time there's no way to create a shadow feature or an offset. However, with Cricut fonts, if you want to see the shadow layer, all you need to do is select the eyeball with the line through it, and that will pre-populate that shadow feature behind it. Let's do that with the Ken's Creations as well, and now you can see both the shadow layers. Now if we want to get rid of the top layer of our text, all we need to do is select the eyeball on that layer, click it, and it will disappear. Now let me show you some other cool features within the Layers tab. Let's start with the Loves You. You might have seen some projects where the Cricut Explorer actually wrote the top layer onto the bottom layer. This is a very easy task to complete. What we're going to do is select our text box, and we're going to go ahead and hit the Attach key. This is going to tell Design Space that we are actually making this one piece. Now, what we want to do is select that box again, and this time we want to go up here and hit this little scissors. We're going to go ahead and change it from cut to write. What this is doing is it's telling the Cricut Explorer that you want to write that top layer onto the bottom layer. It's going to bring up a whole bunch of colors that Cricut currently has in their pen line. We can go ahead and select one of those colors, and as you can see now, that top layer is being wrote onto the bottom layer. Another cool feature I want to show you is how you can turn this into a print-to-cut project. So when we come to Ken's Creations and hit our scissors, of course it's going to default to a cut option, as you can see here. So that's going to cut both the top layer and the bottom layer independently from each other. However, if I want this to print and cut all in one layer, that is a very easy task. We just need to choose what color we want for each layer. So for the top layer, let's go ahead and do an orange. And for the bottom layer, by selecting that, I'm going to choose a black. Now, all I need to simply do is select my text here and hit flatten. This will automatically tell the Cricut Explorer this is a print to cut file. And as you can see here, it changed to a little printer icon. It's that easy to change it to a print to cut. So those are two exciting things you can do in the Layers tab. Now I want to show you the Edit tab and how you can also weld all of your letters. Now let's take a look at the edit capabilities and some of the cool things you can do with that. We're going to select edit here, and this is going to bring up some drop-down menus. The first one is going to tell you what fonts you're looking at. So you can go ahead and narrow down your fonts to a wide variety of options. You can of course look at all your fonts, which is going to be every single font, including Cricut and the fonts on your computer. You can look at just system fonts, Cricut fonts, single layer fonts, or fonts that have a writing style. And the writing style is going to be using your pen option in the Cricut Explorer. Right below that, you have the option to choose a different font for your project. Now, as you can see here, there's some that have a price. If you select this option, it's going to give you what that would look like on your project. However, if I was to cut this, I would be charged at the time of cutting with my Cricut Explorer. You also have an option down here to size your text. So of course, big or small. And right next to that, you also have a feature to align your text. So you can align left, you can align right, or you can align center. Down below, you also have letter spacing and line spacing. Now, letter spacing, of course, is how close your letters are together. So as I do this, you're going to see your letters here come closer and further apart. Now, this option is what comes into play when you want to weld your text. So if you want this loves you to be one element, you're going to go ahead and change your letter spacing nice and tight there. And now we can go to the Layers tab and hit the Weld option. This is going to go ahead and weld this to where, as you can see now, the loves is one word. Now you also have, under your edits, the ability to do line spacing. Line spacing is the exact same thing as letter spacing. However, it's going to change from your height. So as you can see, when I do Ken's Kreations, by going up and down, that line spacing gets further or closer together. Once again, I can go ahead and weld this if I wanted to, or I can go ahead and just change it back to my original spacing. Now below that, you're going to see a size option. Now, how does this size option differ from this size option? Well, this size option is your actual font size, where this option here is how big the actual grouped image is. So as you can see, I can change it this way, or I can automatically change it by using up and down here. Now, if I don't want it to keep its ratio, I can also click this little lock, and that's going to let me go ahead and move it any which way. You also have a rotate feature. Now you can use either this key up here to rotate, or I can use this to rotate as well manually. And then the last thing you have is you also have a nice mirror option. Now this comes into play when you are going to be using heat transfer vinyl and you need to go ahead and mirror an option, and you can mirror either left to right or up to down. Now let's go ahead and take a look at what these keys do up here. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this text and start new to show you this cool feature. A lot of people will ask me how to use curved text in Cricut Design Space. It's very easy to do, so I'm going to go ahead and go to Insert Images, and I'm going to look for a circle. Now we're not actually going to ever cut this circle, but we do need it for a frame of reference. I'm going to go ahead and insert that into Design Space. And then if it does have any layers to it, we could get rid of it, but this one does not. We're going to go ahead and adjust the size of our circle to see exactly what we'd like. And now I'm going to add a text box. And as you can see, it brought up my text right here. Now I'm going to go ahead and go to the Edit feature, and I'm going to use those features that I have not shown you yet, which are these here. Now what these do is these let you know if you're going to be, if you want this to be one grouped image, or if you like to have each of these work independently. So if we want to curve this around this circle, we're actually going to say we want to work with each one independently. This is going to separate all of your font into individual letters. And now I can work with one each individually. So now I can take my H and position it around here, as you can see. And I'm just going to go ahead and keep playing with that until it's nice and curved around that. All right, so I know that is a really messy way, but it gives you an idea. So now all you need to do is go ahead and get rid of the circle, and we're gonna draw a box around everything else, and we're going to go ahead and right click and hit attach. And this gives you an idea of how you can go ahead and achieve kind of that circle look. Once again, this is very done quickly, so I know it doesn't look the best, but that is how you're going to use those edit features on isolating letters. One of the great things about Cricut Design Space is the ability to upload your own fonts into Design Space. Now, I usually use defont.com to find most of my fonts. Now, the fonts that are supported that mostly you'll find are a .ttf or a .otf file. Once you find the file you like, you're going to go ahead and hit the download key. This is going to start your download in your Safari application, and I'm just going to go ahead and click on that file. As you can see, there's that .ttf file, so I'm going to double click that, and that's going to give me a sampling of what that font looks like. I'm just going to go ahead and select the install font, and that's going to automatically install it onto my system fonts. So as you can see now, it's installed into my system fonts. Now I need to go ahead, go back to Design Space, and tell Design Space I have a new font. I'm going to do that by simply refreshing my screen, and that's going to go ahead and make sure that font is loaded. So now when I hit Add Text and go ahead and type my font, I can now go to my Edit tab and look for that Sweet Pea font in this down box. So I'm going to go down to the S's where that is, because it's all alphabetical, and look for Sweet Pea. And it is right there, Sweet Pea. And just like that, you have now uploaded a brand new font into Design Space. It's that simple. Well, I hope you learned something new in that installment of Ken's Kreations Roadmap to Cricut Design Space. If you haven't seen all the videos in this series, make sure to click the playlist on your screen now. You'll be taken to the playlist with the collection of the entire Roadmap to Cricut Design Space videos. Also, if you haven't checked out my print to cut videos, make sure to click this playlist now. This will give you an inside look of how to calibrate your machine, update your firmware, and get your machine ready for print to cut. Alright, thanks for watching today's video. Hope you guys have an amazing day. Thanks.